And we are back with another episode of From the Rafters. Sam and I are here recording on a Saturday after a Celtics back-to-back, and we're here with Smarfwater, probably, I would say, one of the most well-known figures on Celtics Twitter. How you doing today?
I'm good. I appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, you do graphic designs, you sell T-shirts, you put all your designs on T-shirts, mugs, everything, right? On Redbubble, is that where
Yeah.
you sell your designs, Redbubble, or is it T Public now? Or I don't know.
I use Redbubble.
Hmm.
Yeah, I have it's on t-shirts, mugs, stickers.
Hmm.
I really like putting them on like posters and stuff. I feel like that's
Hmm.
what I'm doing a lot of now.
No, yeah, I mean they're great designs. I know I have a T-shirt. I'm pretty sure Sam, you have a T-shirt too, right?
I do, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not wearing it right now because I'm filthy, sweaty, but I have too much
Yeah,
respect for
mine
the
is
t-shirt to do
dirty.
that.
No, I mean I love the designs. All of Celtics Twitter, I feel loves designs. So my first question before we get into the Celtics topics: how did you get so big and so like well known on Celtics Twitter? Did it just kind of happen after you started making the designs, or?
I guess. I mean, I wasn't really I didn't have Photoshop for a while.
Mhm.
At first I was just doing stupid stuff and I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I wasn't around on it until like October 2019. So I don't know how long you guys have been on.
I know Sam's been on for longer than I have, so I don't know.
2018, but I wasn't me. I was like anonymous for a while. Yeah, so I think I got rid of my parquet press last year.
Hmm.
So I've been me for not that long, maybe about a year,
Yeah, I
maybe
didn't.
less. I don't remember when we did that.
Yeah, I don't remember either. I didn't join Twitter till like January of last year, so I'm late to the party. I never even had Twitter. Like I never had a personal Twitter account or anything, so I knew nothing about it. But we got there eventually. But I just think it's so cool. Like you could literally go anywhere on Celtics Twitter and they know who you are. Like it's just like you're Celtics Twitter famous. I'll put it that way. So shout out. Thank you for coming on the podcast. But since we are
Thank
talking
you.
about Celtics, the Celtics have been a roller coaster this season. Roller coaster of emotions. I don't know what's going on. I want to talk about the ups and the downs. Do you have a biggest like? We'll start off with the good. Do you have what's the best surprise about the Celtics for you this season? Like the best thing you can like that's happened for you this season in your eyes.
Um, I would say the chemistry between, Jason and Jalen has just been pretty good. I mean, for I guess Jalen Brown to step up again,
Hmm.
like he had already made a really great improvement last season, and then for him to do that again this season and be like all-star level is just really impressive. And I mean, he's helped the team in like a lot of ways.
Hmm. No, yeah, I mean Jalen's an All Star this season. Do you have a big surprise, Sam? What do you think?
Maybe Tice is the biggest surprise. Last year he had that rough Eastern Conference Finals, but he's been balling out. Had a rough day yesterday, but he's around the top 10 in the league at 3-point percentage, which is excellent.
Mhm.
He is someone that I know I said many times that was the odd guy out this year, and he's still the starter and probably the most secure center on the team.
Mhm.
So I guess it's probably him. Jalen Brown's leap is always a nice, pleasant surprise, but is it a surprise when it keeps happening year after year?
That's fair.
Also, Peyton Pritchard comes to
Yeah.
mind. I was not expecting
Yeah,
him to be as good as he is.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people were. I know my friend Danny will go to his grave saying he knew about Peyton Pritchard, but I'll call cap on that every day. He's a character. But now we'll get to the bad side of things, I suppose. What's been the biggest disappointment, Smartwater? There's been a few I can think of, but do you have one that stands out to you?
Um, I'd say, I mean, I guess Marcus Smart getting hurt.
Mm,
It's always sad, and I wasn't expecting that. I mean, I feel like an obvious one is like Kemba, but I'm
yeah.
not too disappointed. I mean, it's still early.
Hmm. Sam, you got something?
yeah, I kind of agree with the Kemba one. Obviously, anybody getting hurt sucks. The Celtics training staff is on the hot seat as far as I'm concerned because they have been awful for like the last couple of years. Ed Lacert left the team; he was the longtime trainer. Now all of a sudden, guys are hurt all the time. That's not my disappointment, but I'd say Jeff Teague is number one. they signed him, and people thought he'd be solid off the bench, and he's just terrible. Like he's in the game, it's not going to go well. Um, Very rare to hear you say something negative at all, Smarfwater. You
Yeah.
are the positive queen on
And
Twitter.
even when I asked for
Yeah.
something negative, you just said an injury, which is like so clearly
Yeah,
negative. Like
injury was the first
you
thing.
didn't get down to
I'm
anybody.
just I'm so optimistic about the team. Like I feel like they have the opportunity and or not opportunity, but potential to
Mhm.
like be going to the finals and winning. It's just pulling it together because the team is so young.
Mhm. No,
So
yeah, for
yeah.
sure. Very young, inexperienced team. But Sam did bring up something I wanted to ask you about, which I don't know if it'll bring up negativity if you're going to support him, but it is Jeff Teague, and I want to know your thoughts on his season so far.
This is the ultimate
I
test of
mean,
how positive
in
you are.
our fantasy draft, I picked him. Like I was so high on him. I thought,
Uh-huh.
especially with Kemba out at first, he would be, the Jeff Teague that he has been in past seasons. But yeah, I agree. Huge disappointment. Like I think the team is like undefeated when he doesn't play,
Yeah.
and then he played like a lot last night and we lost.
Yeah, what is it? I think 3-0 when Jeff Teague doesn't play this year, and then he goes from
Has he
not
had?
playing.
Oh yeah, he was injured.
Yeah.
That's right. I forgot he hurt himself. I was like, he's been in there every game. There's just no spot for him because Pritchard's playing so well that he doesn't need to be off the bench. He's just taking minutes off of Pritchard. Even then, I'd rather have Edwards in the game than him.
Mhm.
I mean, they're both shooting decent from three, and Edwards he's not stupid with the ball like Teague is. Like there was a possession, he sat on the ball the whole possession, and then he just passed it to Pritchard with no time left and made him take the shot. It was literally like something you see in 2K. I messaged you right away when that
Yeah.
happened, Jack. Like one of our friends when we play, he does that shit, and it's like, what are we doing here? Like, why is this guy consistently getting minutes?
Yeah, I don't get it. There's got to be a point where Brad, puts his undying love on the back burner and just lets Carson and Peyton play. But
I think Brad is really big on making guys earn things.
yeah.
I think that's why he waited so long to let Pritchard start. He started Tremont Waters over him when everybody was out against Toronto the first time. Like he likes to make guys earn things, and I think that's a big character thing for him. And I appreciate that he does that because guys appreciate the roles they earn more. Like Neesmith, he's not even playing right now. I'm sure when he eventually does get the time to play, he'll be ready for sure. I think so. And also he will have a lot of respect for what other guys have to do to get their spots.
Mhm. No, yeah. Smartwater, are you in the play Neesmith more camp, or do you just think it's a normal Brad thing and he'll play eventually? Do you have any thoughts?
I did see an interesting tweet recently that was saying something about like, you know, uh, he'll he'll be like if he goes off and he's not playing that much to the point where like his weaknesses can be really exposed or shown, but like he's going in and putting up pretty like just making shots. I guess is
Mhm.
the bar right now. He could be a great trade asset.
Mm.
Um, so I don't know. I mean, I'm not the fact that Brad Stevens isn't high enough on him to be playing him that much. I kind of agree. Like I'm not gonna criticize him, especially if going into the season he wasn't like in shape enough to be running up and back down the
Yeah.
court. Like I heard, yeah,
Yeah, I remember hearing about that too. I was actually going to bring it up, but you beat me to it. Yeah, I trust Brad as well. I think he's around those guys all the time, sees them practice, sees what they're capable of, and I feel like he's right a lot more of the time than he is wrong. Like you see, he plays guys like Shemi, and Shemi has two solid games. Got hurt before he was able to finish the game yesterday, but he was all right while he was out there.
Mhm.
Pritchard is another guy. He got to play right away, and he was really good. So I feel like there is, and Tatum's another one. When Tatum came in, played him right away. He was kind of a star throughout that season. Was big in the playoffs.
Mm.
I don't know. He knows what he's doing, and I don't think people understand that enough.
And of course Shemi got hurt, right? Like what else was gonna happen when he was having two career nights?
I'm telling you, man, the training staff is on the hot seat. I don't think it's all freak injuries. I just don't think they're taking care of the guys enough. I mean, it's too much to be a coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
Marcus hurts a muscle. What exactly happened to Shemi? He hurt his knee.
Yeah, something with his knee. I don't know exactly, but
Jaylen Brown has tendonitis now.
Robert Williams is gone now.
Robert Williams is hurt. Kemba had the knee problem. I don't know if that was tendonitis or something else. I mean, it's enough is enough here. And guys come here and the Hayward thing is a freak accident. But like guys come to the Celtics now and like that'll never be hurt. Kemba is an example, and then he's hurt all of a sudden.
Mhm. Kemba did
Do you
have
think
knee
it's the
issues.
cold weather?
It could be the cold weather. That's fair
Maybe
because it makes cold makes your muscles tighter. I don't know, man. It's
Kemba.
so frustrating that the staff, like, I don't know. Ever since Ed Lacerda is no longer the trainer, Brian Dew is not the strength coach. Like, guys are getting hurt a lot more. I feel like.
Kemba did have knee surgeries earlier on in his career, though. I will say that. So it's not an unheard of thing, but it's definitely
But he wasn't missing
ridiculous.
time.
Yeah, yeah. There's that. Well, yeah. It was very early on. I think when he was on the Bobcats. So, like I said, it's a very long time ago, but he did end up missing some time. Speaking of Shemi getting hurt, that was the Pistons game, which if you're listening, you know that the Celtics kind of just blew up in their own face. I don't really know. Like I can point to a few things. Like obviously, ball movement wasn't great. Pistons are very physical. Smarfwater, what happened? Like, do you have anything you can point to in that game that it was like, okay, this was terrible. Like, what are you guys doing?
Um, I guess it was just a tough night for everyone besides Jason and Jalen,
Mm-hmm.
and they kind of like took a back seat a little bit as the game went on. And then the Pistons are also have been like playing really well against good teams. I don't know. I guess I'm gonna look at stats right now.
Mm-hmm.
I guess is Plumlee out?
Yeah, Plumlee was
Yeah,
out.
he didn't play yesterday.
That's surprising. That because I would think that like our center position would have been a struggle.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I wasn't that disappointed by the game last night, but I definitely was by our defense as the game progressed.
Mm-hmm. Sadiq Bey just kind of did whatever he wanted all night. So
Yeah.
I don't
And
know.
another thing that's really frustrating for me is they literally just traded away Derrick Rose, who was the guy that killed them in the game they lost.
Yeah.
And like now, like you don't have an answer for Sadiq Bey. Just chase him around. Put Javante Green out there just to chase him.
That's what they
That's
did
what they've been doing
against.
all year, and
Yeah.
he's decent at that.
That's what they did
I don't
against
get it.
Doug.
It's maybe they are tired. The guy Scal on the broadcast was bringing up how like the second night of a back to back, and helps to have the crowd there to motivate you a bit. But I mean, come on, like you got to get up for games. Like you have a day off today.
I feel like definitely not having Marcus Smart is a big adjustment energy wise as well as obviously what he brings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That and it makes it hard for them to have a consistent group to be playing with
Yeah.
because they're just switching the starters, which is fine because you have to do that for matchups. But I mean, it helps when you're playing with the same guys all the time. It's tough when they got to adjust.
I'm pretty sure the
Yeah,
Celtics.
I completely agree.
I'm pretty sure their starting five has played less than any other like real starting five in the league. Like I saw a stat.
Pritchard, 12th guy to start.
That's my biggest complaint against Brad Stevens, and like an improvement that I think would help the Celtics get further than the conference finals this year is if those starters were playing more minutes together before the playoffs.
Yeah, and I think a big part of it has been because they just couldn't. Like they're not on the floor. Like if you think about the timeline of injuries, it's like so picture perfect, right? So Kemba doesn't play, and then Jason Tatum gets COVID when Kemba comes back, and then as soon as Kemba's ready to come back, Smart gets hurt. So it's like they're very small minutes where they can actually play. It's just the worst possible scenario, and it's crazy that it ended up happening like that. But back to that Pistons game, the one thing I kept like keying in on was after that Raptors game where the Jays obviously had career nights passing the ball, and it seemed like the whole team was just moving the ball super well. And then at the start of that Pistons game, like early first quarter, obviously Celtics took this big lead, as they always do to start the game, right? You gotta take it with a grain of salt. But they were moving the ball really well, and then as the game went on, it's kind of just like, okay, the Jays are playing well, let's just let them do their thing. And then all ball movement just fell to the wayside, which I don't understand. Like I get you want to get the ball into the hands of your best players, but if you're gonna do that, at least pass it around first. Like make the other team think you're gonna have other guys shoot. Do you guys see that as a problem? Like obviously not long term because we know that they can pass after the Raptors game, but like why does that mindset shift so quickly within a game just to not pass? Do you guys have any thoughts?
Personally, I would love to see more ball movement. I don't. I just hate ISO, and like with a team like ours where like there's so many different roles that each player could have, I feel like they should be playing to those roles better and moving the ball better. I mean, again, having Kemba and Smart out is tough, and then having like Jalen and Jason having really good nights, or just being able to get those points up and stats. But then and everyone else is kind of lacking is really tough.
Mm-hmm.
That's where like I feel like a trade should happen.
Mm-hmm.
Should be on the horizon. Someone to help, play make a bit more.
Sam, do you have thoughts on the
Yeah.
ball movement?
I think they're a lot more fun to watch when they move the ball. Obviously, they win because it's harder to defend. The assist numbers. Here's the thing about assists, and I remember I used to write recaps after every game a couple of seasons ago, and like I would always like talk about assists. But, like when you have assists, that means the ball's going in. You can still make those good passes, and the guys just miss. I don't know if that was the case yesterday, though. I remember specifically one possession in the fourth quarter. I think they were down 5. And a pass was made to Jaylen Brown, who was on the wing. He stood there, jabbed, and then just shot.
Yeah.
And like it was early in the shot clock. I just don't understand why they do things like that. And it happens all the time, whether it's him or Jason Tatum, who I don't think has been consistent enough. And it's frustrating for me because he is the guy and he's shown he's good enough to be the guy, but he's not performing at the level he's capable of. He hasn't been bad, he just hasn't been as good as he could be.
I'm pretty sure I could.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm pretty sure I could be fact checked here, but I think the Celtics had 5 assists in the entire second half the other night after having like 15 on the game. So that's just a stat that I keyed in on. But I get what you're saying, Sam. Like obviously you can make the pass all you want, but they got to make the shot. So
yeah, they do have to. It's a group effort to get assists.
Yeah,
believe it or not.
Jaylen Brown had 0 assists last night.
Yeah, after having 10?
After 10 the day before.
It's
it's funny you mentioned the trade, and this is the first time I'm like on board. And I was thinking about it while we were talking. The only people, let's talk about untouchable people or people you prefer to keep on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I would say you want to keep Jason and Jalen. You want to keep Marcus, Tice, and Pritchard. Those are the only ones that you don't. And maybe Robert Williams, maybe depending what they're getting in return.
Mm-hmm.
But besides that, like those are the guys that you can't, or you try not to give up because you want to build that as your core.
See, I'm curious about one of those names. Smarfwater, are you completely opposed to trading Marcus Smart? Because I know there's a rift in the Celtics fan base about this.
I wouldn't say no to anyone. There's definitely, like if KD was suddenly like, I want to go to the Celtics, but
I'm on the same boat.
I don't think that's the move that needs to be made.
Yeah.
I mean, Tice is more on the table for me than Sam. Same with, I mean, no, I agree that Kemba. Did you say Kemba?
He didn't.
I didn't say Kemba.
I think
older.
For just in the middle of this season right now, Kemba is off the table, PR wise.
That's fair.
I agree with that, and I also, if you really want to talk about Kemba, I don't think they're going to trade him because I don't think the value's there to make a trade and it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But if you're making a gigantic trade and that's something they want, then fine. As far as Marcus goes, I'm on the same boat. Like, and the reason why I don't like to trade Marcus, and I've said this to you many times, Jack, is he's such a special player defensively that you can find somebody that's a scorer or whatever you're going to trade for much easier than you're going to find another Marcus. So he's extremely valuable, and he's been out with these last 2 weeks, and they haven't really played well. Like I said, this is a big stretch for the anti-Marcus people, and they haven't performed without him. It's as simple as that. They were performing without Kemba when Marcus was running point, like they were doing fine. Then Tatum got COVID and things went to shit. But if you really want to think about, okay, who do they need? Marcus is absolutely one of those guys that I think is important to keep around.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Pritchard as well, just because he's young and he's someone you can keep. But if in Tice, I'm open to trading him, but I think he's the best big they have right now. So I think it's best that they keep him. But depending on the price, whatever they're going to get in return, if it's worth it, fine.
I'd like to throw from the bottom of my heart Grant Williams in that group, even though I know he is tradable.
He's
no.
He's good at times.
Let me have it. Just let me have it. Just keep Grant. All right, for the sake of my fantasy team, just keep Grant Williams, please. But no, I saw a trade on Twitter. Now, before I say this trade, every time I bring something up, Sam, you yell at me like it's my idea. This is not my idea. I'm gonna get out there now. It's not my
Well,
trade idea.
you're putting it on a platform.
Exactly, I am.
You're
Because
raising it up so
I was
people will
added in
more
this
people
trade.
hear
I
it.
was added in this trade idea. I was like meh iffy on this, and I want to know both your guys' thoughts. It was Kemba and Marcus for Ben Simmons, right? And I can't remember if you like Ben Simmons or not, Sam. And I by both your
I can't
faces,
remember if I like Ben Simmons.
yeah.
How many times have I told you that Ben Simmons sucks, Jack?
Okay, he doesn't
He
suck.
is like one of the worst basketball players
Oh
in the
my.
NBA.
All right, all right.
But
I
I do
get the
think he'd be an
thoughts.
okay fit on the Celtics. But I don't know
See,
about Marcus.
how can you go from he sucks to he'd be a good fit on the Celtics?
Well, he does suck, but
How?
he sucks in his current situation
All
because
right.
he's not somebody that. Well, just think about if he was on the Celtics, right? People dub him as Tall Rondo. Literally, that's what he is. So, and he's bigger, stronger than Rondo. So if he's penetrating and he has Tatum and Brown to kick to, maybe.
Exactly.
But for
I mean,
Marcus,
Rondo can shoot better though.
That's
isn't
very
that
true.
sad?
That is depressing. That is sad. So you don't? I take it you don't like him, Smartwater. You don't like Ben Simmons.
No, not at all. I don't think that he is good at all. I mean, his defense is it's good, but it's not the best. It's not like we don't already have that type of like intensity among a few other players. I would not trade Kemba and Smart for Ben Simmons.
That's fair. I was leaning
I
no
don't
on
think
that
I
deal
would either.
either. I just couldn't remember because I remembered you liked one of Embiid and Simmons, Sam, and I always forget which one you like and which
Oh,
one
I
you
like
dislike.
Embiid.
Okay.
I think
I
he's
love
hilarious.
Embiid. I think
All right.
Embiid
Yeah.
should be on the Celtics.
Wow.
Yeah, see, we're on the same page.
Yeah, that's what Sam always says. That's scary.
He'd be an excellent Celtic. He would. He talks shit.
He would. Oh,
He
him and
he's
Smart would
outspoken. I
be
wish more
unstoppable.
people were like that.
Mhm.
I wish everybody was like Embiid, where they would just talk. Like everyone's so soft and they're so much respect for the other guy. Like Embiid's like F that guy. Like
He's
he
like
sucks.
KG. He's like what KG used to
Yeah,
do.
yeah. He does have like work ethic problems, but I mean, well, from what we hear, I mean, I don't follow the Sixers or anything like that, but I don't know. I would like Embiid on the Celtics for sure.
Mhm. He'd be great. I mean, him and Marcus have had their differences, but I feel like if they were on the
They'd
same
probably
team,
be best friends if they were on the
oh
same
yeah,
team.
100%.
Yeah.
But you guys mentioned Rajon Rondo, right? Another trade idea, which I think you guys will be more open
Mm.
to, because I don't have who the Celtics will give up, but Rondo and John Collins to the Celtics has been swirling around Twitter. Do we have thoughts on that idea? And who would
For
you give
what?
up? Exactly, that's
Oh,
what I'm
they didn't
asking.
say.
No, well, there it was like Carson, Grant, Robert Williams, Romeo Langford, and picks, which is like,
It's
eh,
like free.
yeah, exactly. And
That doesn't touch any of the people I said I didn't want to trade
exactly.
or Kemba, which doesn't make any sense for Kemba to be traded to Atlanta, by the way. But it's literally like
So
free.
I'm asking what you both would give up to get that package back to Boston.
Well, they can have Jeff Teague.
All right. I don't think they'd
Um,
want him back.
I don't know. That's his franchise.
Yeah.
And plus, you kind of gotta clear some space with the guards. I mean, Carson, I guess, but the only thing about Rondo now is you have Pritchard, who when I was hammering Rondo like anything, like we didn't know about Pritchard being a beast yet. So do we really want him to take minutes away from Pritchard? Maybe if you want to play him off the ball.
Well, if
Pritchard,
you're going to be playing 3-point guards anyways, you might as well have Rondo over Jeff Teague / Carson Edwards, right?
yeah.
But what would you give up, Smartwater, for Collins and Rondo?
So actually, I had the amazing opportunity of listening to Dante this morning on Locker Room, and he mentioned a trade that Hardwood Houdini posted. Celtics get John Collins, Hawks get Romeo Langford, Aaron Nesmith, 2022 first round pick, and 2024 first round pick, and a 2026 first round pick. And like you said, that doesn't touch anyone that I care that is untouchable for me. I mean, I don't know if the Hawks would say yes to that because John Collins is like a really good player with a lot of potential. I just don't know if they're trying to keep him. Like I've heard conflicting things.
It's just so weird. Like I don't know what's going on in Atlanta that they're open to ideas of trading John Collins. Like
Maybe they know something that we don't, though. Doesn't that worry you a bit?
Yeah, I guess so.
Maybe
But
he's an issue. Maybe he has work ethic problems. But I think I would want to hear what the Hawks people think that they should get for him from the Celtics.
mhm.
That's when I
Yeah.
would make a
They're
decision.
probably talking, oh, give us Jaylen Brown, we'll give you John Collins and Rondo. It's just
No.
they're probably psychos down there. I have no idea. I don't follow the Hawks
I
enough.
mean, they definitely have. They've been accumulating like a very random assortment of players.
Hmm.
So like, I have no idea what they'd even want.
Yeah, I don't really know what they're doing. Like they've had
Yeah.
some weird drafts as of late, right? Like they take DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish in the same draft that play the same position. Then they take Kevin Herter, who doesn't play any defense. No offense, Kevin Herter, but like I mean, realistically, next to Trae
Does he
Young.
still start for them?
Well, yeah, because Bogdanovich got hurt. I think I don't think Bogdanovich is playing right now.
He's a solid shooter, to be
Yeah.
honest. Not that he plays terrific defense like you say, but
Sam's
he is a
looking
good
for
shooter.
Celtics pieces right now. He's looking for guys that can come to Boston.
They need depth, man. Like they need it so bad because they don't, like we were talking about yesterday. No one showed up besides the Jays, and even they weren't super efficient, but they were still solid. Rare bad game from Tice,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
I wrote about that in the
But
recap. It's weird.
he's been like the third best player on this team lately.
Yeah, which is
He's been really consistent, which is good for
His
him.
shooting has really improved.
it's
And
so
I think
weird.
that's a testament to him rather than a knock on everyone else.
It's because he doesn't actually shoot the ball. He just kind of like catches it and launches it in one like motion. It's like not an actual shot. He just kind of catches and throws.
He is so confident he's not even thinking about it anymore. He's
great.
at the top of the key and he's just going up right away.
Which is great. I mean, it's exactly what all Celtics fans wanted from Tice back in the bubble when everyone was, telling Brad Stevens to trade him. My favorite thing though is going on Facebook. Like the past few from the Rafters episode, Smarfwater, I just go on Facebook and have Sam like rant at Facebook comments. But it's just always a mix of trade Kemba and fire Brad Stevens. Neither of which are like comments that I understand. Do you have any like rational explanation for the fire Brad Stevens people? Because like I can get the Kemba argument, right? He had a few bad games, but why? Like, what is this whole thing with Brad Stevens? Do you have any idea?
I mean, I'd say it's because of his experimentation in like the lineup and just him giving chances to players that are obviously like not working at times. And that is a complaint I've had is like he'll keep players in like Marcus Smart, for example, or like he won't coach and say like stop shooting the ball. Like they're not falling tonight. Like there's things like that where like he could, grow a pair a little bit. But I don't know. I think it should be I don't know. I just think Celtics fans are especially on Facebook are very critical. They've
Very
been
aggressive.
spoiled with players like
Not the
Jaylen
most
Brown and Jason
educated
Tatum.
fans on Facebook.
No, they're not. Not in this latest. Fun fact, Sam. They what is it? The idiot test you made has over 8,000 impressions now on Twitter because of how many people you sent it to.
Yeah, I almost sent it to someone today, but I just didn't feel like it. I think I was busy. Like it was like after I went running and before I went back out, and I was like, oh, I don't have time for this right now, but I really think this guy needs to see this.
They do terribly too. I looked at the responses the other day. They do awful. It's bad. Not great work.
Oh man.
Very funny. But wrapping back around a little bit. We're talking about trade options. John Collins, Rondo. Obviously, I brought up Ben Simmons, which was a mistake. I won't do that again. Do you have
Jack? By the way, the guys on the broadcast talking about a Jeremy Grant trade.
Yeah.
Get fucked.
Dude, there's no chance. I will send you an article that Keith Smith put out.
No, there probably isn't
There's
any chance.
not a
I
chance.
was laughing to myself because I was like, oh, Jack's probably like steaming right now.
Smartwater, we had an argument, like a full-blown like screaming match. It was the first one we had in a while on the podcast over would the Pistons trade Jeremy Grant? Do you think there's any chance they trade him?
No. Not at all.
Get fucked. Get fucked, Sam. See, Sam was like, which I understand your argument.
I just don't
Sam.
think they have any reason not to. Because,
Yeah.
what are they doing right now? Like, why do they really need him? Like, that's my argument. They could
yeah.
probably get more things, like, that would benefit them more on their timeline if they traded him.
Which makes sense, but it's just like, he's only 26. He's playing so well. You just gave him a big contract. That was just my thought process, but I
I mean, they
definitely
traded Derrick
understand.
Rose for nothing.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
Dennis Smith
They
Jr.
didn't
would
they
be
they
okay.
didn't trade us Christian Wood, the Celtics Christian Wood last year, and then they let him walk. Like the franchise we're talking about, Jack, doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. They definitely don't make a ton of sense. But my point was, what trade options, Smartwater, are you looking at? Obviously we brought up John Collins. Are there anybody like? Is there anybody in particular that you think would make a good Celtic that is within reason in the TPE without it? Like, you have any names that come to mind?
Two players are high on my list. They are Nikola Vucevic
Hmm.
and Harrison Barnes.
Yeah.
Besides John Collins, he would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Those are two names I feel like that have come up a lot. Vucevic, you get Vucevic, the offense would be spectacular with Nikola Vucevic, and the Magic are in shambles right now. It's kind of sad down
Yeah.
there. I feel bad. You got to feel bad for them at a point, right? They've lost what? Markel Fultz, Cole Anthony, MCW just got back. Frank Mason went down there. Now he's hurt. John Isaac
I'm sure they
obviously
could
went
use Jeff
down.
Teague.
Hey, you never know. You never know, man. They could use a nice guy like Jeff Teague. As you say, Sam, former All Star.
They can
Jeff
have two.
Teague.
They can have him and Carson Edwards.
Just give them the entire point guard depth. No, yeah, I
Well,
mean,
that's my thought on it is, yeah, we wouldn't be improving that much defensively. But like if they're willing to trade Vucevic, I feel like they're on a rebuild path, like firmly. And whatever picks that the Celtics have, I feel like we don't need them
hmm
if we have with all like the developing guys already on the team.
and I feel like Vooch isn't. He can't be that bad defensively. Like I don't obviously watch Magic
Well,
games, but
exactly. I mean, if he's in the paint, and then we already have good defenders on our team, like Marcus Smart, Jason Tatum, even like I like Jaylen Brown's defense. I think it's pretty good. Like that would help on the perimeter, and like Vucevic can't be that bad. I
mhm.
mean, he's pretty big.
Yeah. I mean, at the very worst case scenario, right? You're talking Embiid in the playoffs, and that would be like, oh shit, we have Vucevic in the paint, we need to help him. And even at that point, you could just do what you do for Daniel Tice, where you bring Smart on the double team, make him kick it out, because that hurt Embiid bad in the playoffs last year. So if you sacrifice having to do that every once in a while for the offense that Vucevic will bring, I don't think it'll be that bad. But Sam, do you think?
I agree.
What do you think about Vooch?
I don't feel like they're gonna do that though.
Why?
Just because I don't know, man. They're weird. Like they've had him for years and they haven't really been successful at all.
Yeah.
But they still like insist on keeping that team together. I think Barnes is a good option though. We talked to Chris Forsberg last week. Was it
Yeah.
last week, Jack?
Subtle flex.
Seems like forever ago.
Does seem like a long time
But
ago.
he wrote about that right before he came on, and we were talking to him about that. And I think it makes a lot of sense because they don't have a lot of wing depth, which sucks. You have a bunch of guys that are good at like one thing, sometimes two if they're having a good day. Javante Green's really athletic. Shemi's a good defender. Sometimes he's a good shooter too. You usually don't get the full package from any of the guys. You need someone that's going to give you a little bit more. I think they are going to make a move this year. This is one time. A lot of people, when there's trade or like the deadline comes around or whatever, they always want a trade just because it's time for it to happen. And they're jealous. They're missing out. Everyone else is making trades, whatever. But this is a time they legitimately do need a trade. They need to change some things up, add depth, because they don't have it right now. They are losing games to bad teams because they don't have depth.
Mm-hmm.
They are losing games because they're not consistent. They're losing games because they don't play defense in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
They need to fix that.
Yeah, and I just want to go back to Vooch for a sec. I want to read you the Magic starting lineup from a couple nights ago. It was Frank Mason, Dwayne Bacon, James Ennis, Gary Clark, and Vooch. So they're not in a good way at the moment. And I saw Keith Smith tweet about it, and he said something along the lines of "Get Vooch out of there." So I just thought that was entertaining. But no, yeah, you bring up the fourth quarter. I've written an article about it. I think it's been talked about a lot. Smartwater, what the fuck is happening in the fourth quarter? Do you have any idea what goes on in their minds?
I honestly, I don't know if there is like, I don't know. I don't know what my explanation would be or like reasoning for it specifically. I just think there have been, a few injuries. It's not like we have that much depth, so like Jason and Jalen, yeah, like they can have the ball the whole time, but they're trying not to.
Yeah.
I feel like it hasn't been so much of a focus on like, well, for one, like I guess to put it in an easier way, like the Celtics haven't been playing at their best,
Hmm.
but a lot of other teams have been. Like they're putting out their guys and they're trying to win that game, but the Celtics are still kind of like seeing what works and whatever works, like rolling with that. But then players like Kemba and many of the other players that have like slight injuries and come back or any type of soreness, like I think Keith was talking about it. Them like pulling them out when they're getting hot, I feel like is really affecting
Hmm.
the offense in general.
Yeah, it's just weird. I mean, Sam, we've talked about it before, but do you have any new revelations about the fourth quarter? Or is it just the same old shit?
Um, I think you make a good point about the experimentation still happening, but they literally have to do that because they don't know who's going to fit and
Yeah.
who's actually going to be good
Yeah.
on a nightly basis, and it sucks. And some guys they don't play well in the fourth or whatever. And it's I think it hurt them yesterday that Shemi went out because they almost did it. They almost came back in the fourth, which was good for them. I think they won the quarter, if I'm not mistaken, which is progress. It is the Pistons, but it's still progress. Um, it's just frustrating to see them lose games that they shouldn't be losing. And I think that's the consensus, whether people know how to express it or not on Twitter, whether they do it by saying people need to be fired, trades need to happen. That's what's happening is they're losing games they have no business losing. They lost to Detroit twice now in a close game.
Hmm.
They lost to Sacramento. They shouldn't have lost that game. Utah, Phoenix, those were both good teams they lost to. Probably shouldn't have lost to Phoenix because they shot terribly, but it is what it is. The first Indiana game was bad too that they lost.
Yeah. The
The
Kings
Brooklyn
game,
game was fine. Yeah, the Brooklyn
Kings.
game was fine just because they got the doors blown off. Like when they get the doors blown off, it's less frustrating than like if they're in it and then they just stop, which happens
A lot.
all the time.
Happens a lot. It's like the Spurs game, the Kings game, and the Suns game. It's
The
just kind of,
Spurs game,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Lakers game, they should have won that game too, and they
Mhm.
didn't.
It's just very tough. And I'm gonna blame that Pistons game on KJ because I don't know if either of you were watching the pregame show the other day, but KJ goes, I will say, since we did lose to the Pistons the first time, I mean they are a bad team. I think the Celtics should be fine in this one. And my dad, who was watching the show, texted me. He goes, "Don't worry about the Pistons." He said, "This will be easy." He said, "What the fuck? This is all KJ's fault." Like ranting to me during the game. So I'm putting full blame on KJ for that Pistons game, and I hope he hears this, or I'll clip it and send it to him. But full blame goes to KJ. I'll put it on his back. Um, I think that's all the Celtic specific things I had, unless there's something you thought of, Sam. There's one other thing I want to talk about it, but it's less Celtics. I wanted to bring up the
Yeah,
fact that you mentioned fantasy earlier, Smarfwater. You're currently killing us all in fantasy basketball at the moment. I'm 4-3, Sam. You're 2-5. Terrible season
I
for you
haven't
right
been
now.
looking. I
Yeah,
haven't been looking. That's why.
my team's just ass. But
I
who's
think I stopped looking because everyone was just injured, and I was like, dude, I've had enough of this.
who's carrying your team right now, Smartwater? Is there anybody in particular?
Well, Vooch for one thing.
Oh,
I also have Rudy Gobert, who has been putting up a lot of nice numbers.
mhm.
Doncic.
Oh yeah.
Um, I honestly just have a lot of good like players that get a lot of minutes, and the reason I'm winning is because there's a few of you that don't update it. So like,
Fair.
and I update it every day just because this is the first time I've ever done fantasy, so I'm pretty competitive about it.
Yeah. I mean,
You know, Nick Batum has been helping me a lot.
what the fuck, Nick Batum? Who would have thought? I mean, I tried to update it. I think my team just sucks at this point. Like I got Jalen Brown, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis. So you'd think we'd be doing a little bit better, but apparently they're just ass. I don't know what's going on. Sam, what's your team look like? I haven't looked at your team.
I have Towns, Embiid,
Chris Paul.
uh, Chris Paul.
Your team is
McCollum.
very injured. Holy shit.
Yeah, see, like I just got so sick of everyone being hurt.
Sam
I was like,
has
I'm done checking this.
Sam has Marcus Smart, Paul George, C.J. McCollum, Jaren Jackson, Karis LeVert, and Evan Fournier, all of whom are out. So that is
Yeah.
very unfortunate. I'll give you that. Wow, I didn't realize it was that bad. No. Yeah, Smarfwater, you're 6-1 right now. Our friend Tim Shields is 5-2. After that, there's a bunch of 4-3, a couple 1-6, and then Sam's 2-5 right in the middle. So I suppose it's anybody's season, but it's looking like a Tim versus Smartwater finals is in the making. So we'll see. We'll see
It's
what
just
ends
like
up
Tim
happening.
just sweating fantasy basketball.
Who is on Tim's team? Let's take a look. Oh, it's just James Harden.
Oh, Tim has a really good team.
It's James Harden and Sabonis, yeah, and Shai Gilgeous and Kawhi. How do you get Harden and Kawhi?
I know his team is so deep. It's like
Because I think
insane.
at the draft, Harden was just being like a prick.
Wait.
And he wasn't playing at that time.
Listen to this, because he's got a bunch of people on the bench right now. He's got De'Aaron Fox, Jeremy Grant, Shea, Kawhi, James Harden, and Sabonis.
And Seth Curry, right?
Yeah, and Tyler Hero, who I know, Sam, you don't like, but puts up good numbers.
He's sucking right now. No, is he not sucking anymore? Has he stopped?
Yeah, he's putting up like 15 to 20 a game now. He's chilling.
Oh, and he has. Did you mention Terry Rozier? Like he's been going off.
Yes, Terry had 40 last
and
night.
Boucher.
Boucher, yeah,
or
Chris
Boucher.
I don't know. No, I have no fucking clue.
I don't know how to
either. And he has Christian
Boucher.
And he has Christian Wood, who's hurt too.
Something that's hilarious to me is on Locker Room. I've heard so many people calling Daniel Tice like T-Ice or like
or something stupid.
Just saying it crazy ways. It's so funny, but I do that to other players.
Yeah, I do as well. There's some names I still have no idea how to pronounce in the league. And I'm not going to say them because I'm going to avoid looking like an idiot, but I get them wrong constantly. But no, yeah, I know you had some things you wanted to ask Sam at the end, so
yeah,
I'll let you take.
So you put out your Celtics Valentine's Day cards the other day, and those were pretty awesome. Jack, I think you even sent those to me because you thought they were funny.
I think I did. They were. I like the Romeo one.
Or we were doing something, and you were like, oh, yeah. look at what you just put out. So yeah, Valentine's Day is tomorrow. So the last time you were on this podcast, you hadn't shown your face to Twitter yet, but now people know what you look like. How often do you have like people simping over you in like your replies or things like that? Because people know what you look like now.
Yeah, I feel like historically I haven't been very like responsive, so it's died down. But
it was a lot initially.
There were points, yeah. I mean, I just don't really like respond.
I mean, fair enough. I wouldn't respond either. So
yeah, it's not.
I'd
there's
definitely like the
other. I feel like there's other people that like get it more than like they get that type of comments and reply guys more than I do.
Mm-hmm.
That is funny though, because I think like you posted a picture one day and I said, let me just look in the comments, and I saw people going crazy.
I mean,
yeah, it's nice.
Twitter people are weird, man. They're just like, just in general.
So it's always community. Like they're probably like 13, and they all have like somebody as their picture, like it's not them, like a player like or whatever. They don't have their name. Yeah. Like they just run an account, and like that's what they do.
I mean, honestly, like Twitter is such a toxic place. So often, especially in like sports Twitter, that like I feel like any positivity I appreciate rather than negativity.
That's also fair. Then you get the weird ones. Like I feel like there's some just weirdos on Twitter. I've had some, like obviously not.
Do you have anything in particular that they said that was weird that stuck with you, or like sticks out? Like
you don't have
one,
to name
one
any
comment?
Names, obviously, but
yeah, you don't have to name them. But like, what did they say?
There's like a running joke or something that like I should like make an OnlyFans. And people will say it all the time.
Of course,
they're like dropped OnlyFans blank, and I'm
fucking weird.
That bothers me.
Yeah, I mean, I can't blame you. That's just fucking weird. Is it the same people that say the joke all the time? Like, haha, this is funny, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like I feel like they're in the same like group chats and stuff. Like it's
so weird. Like what joy do they get out of that? Like that you're just being creepy on Twitter at that point. Like what the fuck you doing?
Yeah, that's where I feel like I have tried to like post less personal stuff
Yeah.
and just more Celtics and like positive stuff, just so the reply guys are chill. They're just saying like go Celtics or something.
Put them in their place. Put them off to the wayside.
Yeah, one of these times you're just gonna like go on, like have a day where you just like shit on everybody
It
and
should be
like
Valentine's
spread.
Day.
It should be
It should be
Valentine's
Valentine's
Day.
Day. Yeah, you should post something tomorrow and then get people to reply to it and just shoot them all down. Spread the negativity.
And then like don't even acknowledge it. Just go back to your normal self like the next day. Oh man, that's hilarious. Is there anything else, Sam? You can continue. I'll let you keep going.
No, I think that's what I just wanted to do a bit on that because I was like that is funny because last time we had you on like it was just you had the picture of Marcus as your picture.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody really knew like what you looked like or anything, and now people like you always post your picture as you now I believe, so
yeah,
they know
that
what you
was
look
a
like
huge
now.
decision. Every day I still want it to be the Marcus Smart picture, but it's like I go back and forth because as someone trying to like make money off of selling stuff and like getting more followers, I want, to have the brand recognition of like that Marcus Smart picture I had for so long. But then also like I feel like posting pictures of myself makes it more personal and people can like relate or just interact with me better. Mm-hmm. Two sides of the coin. No, I'll probably go back to the Marcus Smart picture soon.
We've reopened your eyes to why you should have it as your picture.
The constant flip flop. No, but do we get an inside scoop here? Do you have any designs in the works for anything going on?
I mean, I have a really long list of like I'll like smoke and then I'll come up with an idea and I'm like writing it down because I'm currently watching a game. Besides like commissions I have to do, which take up pretty much a lot of my time at this point. I'm trying to get like Tommy Heinsohn design done, but it's just hard because like it should be perfect, and like I don't want to like I have to do it justice when I do it. I think Jaylen Brown mentioned or said the word like villainous mentality in one of his interviews recently, and that's an idea I have brewing. Death taxes in the war on Tice.
That'd be fire. That sounds great.
Yeah. Otherwise, like I've had a lot of people asking for like more Peyton Pritchard design. Yeah.
Also, I got to bring up KJ again. KJ came up with the worst nickname on Pregame the other night. He said we should call Semi Ojeleye and Peyton Pritchard Semi PP, and I just shut it down immediately because that is terrible. Like
it's hilarious because that game
so
when
funny.
They both went
exactly.
Off.
But I was just like, dude, like come on now, like shut that shit down immediately. But no, yeah, there is one more thing I thought of when you're bringing up Tommy and everything. Sam, you asked me the other night and you put up a poll, and I wanted Smarfwater your thoughts. Scal, yes or no? Like, do we have thoughts on Scal as a commentator and how he's been doing?
Scal very polarizing. People either like him or they fucking hate him, and I don't get why. I personally don't have a problem with Scal. I think he's fine.
I love him.
Yeah, I think he's fine. I don't know why people dislike him so much.
And especially like the only complaint I really saw kind of in almost like a hive mentality type of thing is people were saying like, oh, well, him and Abby Chin like go at it. But then I think Adam Taylor asked about it and she said like, that's their friendship. They're kind of just like funny and that type of like, I don't know.
I think that's more entertaining.
Like sarcasm.
I think you have to have that. Yeah, that's good for content. It's good.
The thing is Scal would do that with Kyle, and now Kyle's gone, so she's replaced him, and like he's maintained the way that he talks to people and a personality on TV.
Yeah, I don't have a problem.
Yeah, it would be worse if they weren't doing that. It would just be uncomfortable. If they didn't like each other, it would just be uncomfortable, and everyone would know.
Yeah.
I noticed something. I don't remember who said it. And if I did, I don't think I'd want to put them out there. But he was like talking to Mike weird on the broadcast. Like he went at Mike kind of hard, and I noticed it. And I saw a few people throughout Twitter be like, "What the fuck, Scal?" But I feel like just again, that's just Scal being Scal, and people are so used to Mike and Tommy's relationship, which it's not really fair.
I think if Mike didn't like Scal, he'd be fucking gone. Mike is literally the king. If he wanted him out of there, he'd be gone. If he didn't like Scal, or if Scal made him uncomfortable, he'd
True.
be gone.
Very true.
That
The
is the
only
kingpin.
the only change I would like want, I guess, even though like I don't have a problem with Scal, would maybe be like Paul Pierce if you would be interested, or
Yeah.
I don't
Did
know.
I say that to you the other day, Jack?
Yeah, you did.
Or
That's
to
why I'm
you
shaking
and
my head.
Tim?
That's wild.
Yeah. Yeah. That's the
Wow.
guy. He's probably the next best thing to Tommy, just because they're very similar in the way they,
Mhm.
put together takes.
And they both were so like crucial to the Celtics throughout their life.
Yep.
For sure. I wish Scow would go at the refs more because we've seen it in glimpses, but I just want him to just dig into the refs. Like that Zach Zarba thing he was going
It
at him
has to
last
be
night.
natural,
It
though.
was
He
so
can't
funny.
force it.
No,
I
yeah.
think he's doing fine.
Back
Because if
when
he
was talking
forces it, everyone will be like, "Oh, he's trying to be Tommy."
yeah, yeah. I liked when he said that. What's it called? Zach Zarb was just trying to get his spot in Space Jam. That was great.
Yeah.
That made me laugh. But no, yeah. I mean, like I said, Sam. Unless there's anything you wanted to bring up, I think that's everything I had on the slate. So yeah, thank you, Smarfwater, for joining us on the show. We really appreciate you coming on. I don't know the specifics, but if you want to just like say your Redbubble and everything, all that information, so people know where to find your stuff, go ahead.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's one of the best podcasts for Celtics.
We appreciate that.
So I sell, like Celtics gear, shirts, mugs, stickers, and the link is redbubble.com/people/smartwater.
There you go. Go get the designs. Like I said at the beginning of the show, Sam and I both have a T-shirt. I think we might have the same one, just in different colors, right?
No, you have the rainbow one, and I have Kemba and Jason Tatum.
Okay.
Though I need to get a new one. The logos came off. It's not coming off. It's just faded, which it's kind of cool, depending on how like you want to wear it. But I don't know. It was really weird, and I like noticed. I'm like, was it always like this?
Yeah.
I was like, it was super bright.
My sister stole my T-shirt.
But the design is awesome.
Yeah.
I remember I saw it and I was like, I have to buy that. That's so cool.
Yeah.
I can wear it with shorts that I have.
Yeah, no, I love my T-shirt. My sister, like I said, my sister stole mine the other day and wore it to school, and I yelled at her because she like always steals my shit, and I told her, just don't steal like the Celtic stuff. Come on now, like give me something to hold on to. But yeah, you guys can follow Smarfwater on Twitter at Smarfwater. The link to her shop is in her bio, so you guys can check it out there as well. You guys can follow us at Bannertown USA, and per usual, Sam, take it away.
Yeah, you can give everyone a follow. Follow Smarfwater. She is literally the first person that ever told me and Jack that like she listened to our podcast, and it was really like I remember I was at work and like Jack messaged me. He's like, "Did you see that?" I was like, "What?" And I saw it. I was like, "Oh wow, that's really cool because like you were very popular on Celtics Twitter, and you were like, yeah, like these guys do a good show." And I was like, "That's really cool because why would she even listen to our show?" So that's really awesome. We appreciate that. Yeah, but you can follow Bannertown at Bannertown USA. You can follow Jack at Jack Simone NBA. You can follow me at Sam LaFrance NBA. That is our show for today. Bye.